Yo, what is going on, guys? J.Yumeko here, and today, finally, after 2 weeks, I really do apologize for that. We're finally back with some more Katawa Shoujo. Just a quick little update before we jump into the video. I am very, very busy as of now, with the school year having started for me. So I will be very busy, but I will be doing my best to get videos out to you guys. If I can figure out a solid schedule to be able to upload, then I will definitely let you guys know. But without further ado, let's jump right back into this. Alright. Stripes and solids. Alright. Hanako bends down and begins to shoot the remaining balls into the closest pockets. I almost ask if we could play another game, but a quick check of my watch confirms that the night is getting pretty late. Lily and Akira appear to be still drinking at the counter. Seems like we'll have to drag them away.
Hisao?
I turn back to Hanako, who's still looking over the pool table, shooting balls. Her voice sounds different from before.
I'm here for you as well.
I suddenly find myself blushing. It's only natural that she'd respond this way given what I said earlier, but it's still a shock to actually hear it. Just what is my relationship with this girl? I want to protect her, to make her happy. I'm not really sure that it's something like love, but I don't think these are the same kinds of feelings I have for Lily either. I feel sorry for her, having gone through so much in her life. Her parents died in a house fire and she lived in an orphanage for much of her childhood. I can't even imagine that kind of life. But I feel like there's so little I can do for her, especially now that Lily is going to be leaving the country. Hanako and I finish tidying up the table and cues, and pick up Lily and Akira on our way out of the club. It feels like something changed between Hanako and me. I can't quite place what it is, but Hanako's acting differently now. I feel like we're further apart, if anything. So, you enjoying yourselves? Hanako and I both nod and agree. The game was good, and we both did learn more about each other, so it's an honest answer. Lily appears to be a little distracted. Worried about the trip, Lily? She pauses before sighing and smiling weakly.
A little. It means quite a bit.
The comment earns her a clap on the shoulder from her sister. Hanako smiles back too.
You'll be okay, Lily. I hope you can enjoy your time over there.
Thank you, Hanako. I'll try to. It will be nice to be back with my family. After all, no matter for how brief a time it may be. With that, the four of us begin the walk to the car park where Akira's car is. We continue to talk between ourselves, but it's mostly just small talk. Alrighty. Go ahead and skip past that. Right then, are you taking the bus, Lily? Lily motions to a large suitcase standing beside her.
I'll have to take this with me, so I've booked a taxi. It'll meet us at the school gates in about 5 minutes.
Ah, I see. Lily reaches down and feels out the handle of her suitcase. Its weight causes her some difficulty, so I quickly offer to take it myself.
That is awfully kind of you, Hisao.
She has no qualms about accepting, and I end up picking it up. It's not what I'd call light, but it's not exactly heavy either. I don't think I'll have too much trouble carrying it.
Well, thank you then. We should hurry though, if the taxi leaves and it will take quite a time to book a new one. Are you ready, Hanako? Yeah, let's go.
We rush to the gate as fast as we can, only to find that the taxi has yet to arrive. Well, nothing like a bit of exercise in the morning. The nurse told me that I should be doing that.
I think he probably had other things in mind, Hisao, and probably with more regularity. Do you intend to be helping people with their luggage every day?
I guess not. Looks like we've got a bit to wait anyway. How long should we wait for the taxi before calling them again?
I would say another 10 minutes, but they've never let me down before. There's probably just a little traffic.
Okay then. So, how long is the flight to Scotland?
About 16 hours if I remember correctly. It's a bit hard to tell with the changing time zones. So long? It's now that I realize Hanako has been unusually quiet, even for her. She doesn't handle stress well, so she's looking really uptight. Yeah, I can't imagine being on a plane for that long. I've only ever flown on a short family holiday up north, so it really is quite hard to fathom. If Hanako spent so much of her childhood in an orphanage, she's probably traveled very little, let alone flown. It's not too bad. I'll spend most of it either asleep or catching up on my English. I hardly use that here, so I need to refamiliarize myself with it a little. Will your accent be a problem? I wouldn't worry about that too much. It may be an issue initially, but I should be fine once I get used to it. We all moved to sit down on the small bench beside the school gate in silence. Strangely enough, even though I know that Lily is going away, I can't think of anything to say to her. Lily is a reliable person, so it might be because she isn't the one that I'm thinking of most. Lily might not be able to see it, but Hanako's chewing her fingernails nervously. I move to talk to her, but can hear an engine straining up the hill before I get the chance. I think the taxi's on its way. Well spotted, Isao. I only just heard it as well. A small wave of pride washes over me. To have noticed something at the same time as Lily must mean that I've become more aware of my surroundings. Anyway, we won't have to call the taxi company, nor worry about missing Lily's plane. Once the taxi stops where we're standing, the driver rolls down a window and leans over. After confirming that yes, Lily is the same Lily Sato that booked the trip, we sort out her luggage. The driver opens the trunk of the taxi and takes Lily's suitcase, with Lily climbing into the back seat as he loads it into the trunk and slams it shut. After getting back into his seat and shutting the doors, he waits for us to say our farewells. Have a safe trip, Lily. Take care of yourself. Hanako looks understandably downcast, and that much is obvious even in her voice. Of course I will. I'll be back before long, don't worry. There will still be another person here for you too, won't there, Hisao? Yeah, of course. I turn and smile to Hanako, putting my hand on her shoulder. She only manages to keep eye contact with me for a couple of seconds, her cheeks red all the while, before turning back to Lily. See you, Lily. Goodbye! Lily gives her farewells to the both of us with a fair measure of reluctance. Without further ado, the driver starts the engine once more, and they begin the journey down the hill and towards the airport. The two of us stand at the gates for a long time even after they've disappeared from sight, not really knowing what to do. So, what do you want to do? I don't know. Alright, so I think that we're probably let's choose going into the city. I mean, we were just there though. So maybe we should just call it a day. I mean, like, I guess we could go into the city just to try and cheer up Hanako, but at the same time, if we're just going to call it a day, then we could kind of get the story rolling a little bit more. Oh man, this is kind of difficult here. Let's ask, I guess. The bus stop, standing by the school gates like a mute sentinel, puts a strange idea in my mind. Do you want to head into town and look for a bookshop or something? We have the rest of the day free. It's a long shot, as Hanako doesn't like going into the city. I count the fact that we managed to get her out there even when it was so dark as I can't talk. I count the fact that we managed to get her out there even when it was so dark as a small miracle, but I genuinely want to spend more time with her. Anyway, she's likely to just refuse and go back to... Okay. Really? Really? Let's go. I can't work out why Hanako has decided to agree to go with me, but I'm not about to ask her to change her mind. Stepping off the bus, I immediately notice that a lot of people are around us. In hindsight, it should have been obvious. Of course, lots of people will be downtown on a Saturday afternoon. Hanako retreats close to my side, and I can feel her hand clutching my arm tightly. Her body is held against mine, and her head is bowed so low that her hat hides most of her scarring. So, where shall we go? A bookshop? Hanako's present and my other general living expenses have pretty much drained my budget, but I should be able to afford a few books. There's something I try to reserve a few funds for anyway. For a second, I think Hanako didn't hear me, but then I looked to my side and noticed her nodding almost imperceptibly.
Okay. Do you know of one?
Actually, I do. We passed a few when Lily and I were looking for your presents. Hanako's expression clouds a fraction. I've got to remember to stop bringing up her birthday.
You both spent a lot of time?
Or maybe I misjudged the situation. We wanted to make sure we got the right present after all. Hanako smiles and blushes a bit. It's a small treasure when she does. Anyway, there should be a bookshop just up ahead. Do you want to check it out?
Sure.
The crowd starts to build as we head towards the bookshop along the raised walkways. Hanako latches her other arm onto me as well, making our progress a little slower. As we walk, the sound of the traffic makes me think of a possible distraction for her. I was wondering, Hanako, have you ever thought yet about when you're going to learn to drive?
Driving?
Yeah, you're kind of lucky in a way. There aren't a whole lot of students in Yumeko that are allowed to drive. It's not the best topic of conversation, but I want to try and distract Hanako from the situation. She's really high-strung right now. Then again, all I've really done is make her feel awkward, since she's probably never thought about it. I wish I hadn't said anything. Before long, we are before one of the bookshops Lily and I passed by during our search. What kind of self-respecting bookshop closes on Saturdays?
Bookshops don't make much money anymore because of the internet. Maybe they just had to close over the weekends.
She seems pretty knowledgeable about technology. I guess it's a pursuit that would lend itself well to someone who enjoys solitude. Huh, I guess that makes sense. It's easy to find books online. Anyway, it looks like this idea is shot. Anything else you'd like to do?
If it's not a bother, could you show me where you bought my present?
Sure, not a problem. It's not far from here. I head off in the direction of the store, only half sure of its exact location. I don't want to repeat of last time, spending half the day walking around aimlessly. Here we are, Othello's Antiques.
It's small.
Well, yeah. It took Lily and me some time to find it.
Can we go in?
I don't see why not. It's open. Hanako pushes through the door and enters before me. Once again, the store is empty save for the store owner. His face drops a little when he sees me.
Oh,
I don't know what fucking voice I gave him.
oh, you're not here for a return, are you? Wait, that's not the girl you had with you last time.
No, we're not here to return anything. We were just in town and wanted to have another look in here. The store owner considers this for quite a long time. I guess he's not used to high school students coming to his shop on a regular basis.
Might this be the friend you bought gifts for?
That's right, they were presents for her. The store owner turns to Hanako, who freezes on the spot like a deer caught in the headlights. He moves to address her, but stops before doing so, looking a little taken aback. He catches himself staring and looks to the side, addressing us indirectly. His expression is awkward and tense, as is his entire body. I want to be mad at him, but I know full well that I had the same instinctive reaction when I first saw her. First surprise, then curiosity, then an awkward look away as I dealt with what I'd seen. Hanako looks less panicked than before, but I think the feeling she's giving off now is worse. It's not anger nor annoyance. If anything, it's one of apology.
You're lucky there, young lady, to have friends that care about you as much as they do.
Thank you.
If I hadn't spent so much time with Hanako, I wouldn't have even realized that she said anything. Then again, the store owner's mumble was hardly clear either, thanks in part to being directed away from us. Hanako strikes out into the store, gazing in wonder at the various items on display. She finds the doll section and spends lingering minutes studying each and every one. It's a side of Hanako I've only barely been introduced to. I was astonished when Lily said she liked dolls, and even more so to find her collection sitting on her dresser. She looks a little better now that she's distracted and out of the store owner's sight, but I'm still quite put off by the whole experience. I might have my own problems, but I've never had strangers react to me like that, as if I was something completely alien to them.
This is a nice shop.
Yeah, it's not what I expected. Do you want to buy anything?
I didn't bring any money.
Well, we can always come again. Now that I know where to find it, that is.
We can?
Of course. We can come here as often as you'd like.
Thank you.
You don't need to thank me. I almost forgot where this place was. I don't really think either of us completely believes in what we're saying, but rather, we're just repeating what we think we should say.
Can we go back to the school now?
Sure thing. Let's go. As we leave for the bus stop, I see the store owner peek through the curtain at the back of the shop. I'm not really sure what that glance he gives to her says. It feels a bit weird, and the fact that Hanako didn't see it is both a relief and a bit frustrating. Hanako and I stop walking once we reach the concrete area between the dormitory buildings. There was barely a word said between us on our way back from the city.
Well then, goodbye.
Do you want to have some tea or something? How about a game? Hanako shakes her head embarrassedly.
I'm tired. Maybe later? I've got homework.
She sounds a little depressed. Hanako obviously does want to do more, but I suppose she would have a bit of schoolwork to catch up on. She's missed a few days of lessons. Homework. Thanks for reminding me. I've got a stack to do as well. I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, Isao.
Before I can say goodbye, Hanako has turned and begun walking towards the entrance to the female dormitory building. I look at the door she disappears through for a bit, before going off towards my own dorms. Today was a tiring day. Whoosha! Okay, that has brought another end to our chapter. Oh, no, we're in Act 4 Scars. Oh, alright. So this is where we get a little bit, hot. Just judging off that little picture there. I woke up, took my pills, had a nice shower, quickly slipped on my uniform, ate a tasty breakfast, grabbed my bag and headed off. All as per my usual daily routine. It was only after arriving in class that the normality of the day was thrown off. After taking my seat, I watched my classmates trickle into the room over the next hour, until every empty seat was eventually taken, other than Hanako's. I can never get used to the idea that she just doesn't show up to class every now and again, and feels all the more worrying now as well, given that Lily's left. As Mutao continues to drone on, I find my gaze flicking ever so often over to her seat, as if she might appear there any moment now. Nobody else seems to care at all about her absence, but they have little reason to. Hanako being absent from class, after all, is perfectly normal, or at least it was. Her attendance hasn't been all that bad from what I've seen in my time here, but it was apparently much more spotty beforehand. This is also an ominous time for her to be gone. It's the day before her birthday, and my suspicions are starting to rise, after the breakdown she had in class when it was mentioned. An increasing amount of my thoughts is taken up by how I can help her, but in the end I feel like I can't do anything. The bell heralding the beginning of lunchtime rings out, shaking me out of my thoughts. A collective sigh of relief can be heard from the class, though Mutao looks quite put off. He dislikes being interrupted in the middle of his exciting lectures after all. Just when I'm wondering what I should do on lunch break, given that Hanako and Lily aren't here, the solution presents itself. Please don't be...
Afternoon, Hichan.
Afternoon, Misha. Shizune. You both look as bright as ever.
Hichan wants to know if you'd like to have lunch with us today.
Sure, it'll be good to have some company. The cafeteria hums with activity, much like my old schools did. Yamaku is different, though, in how strangely civilized the lunchtime rush is. What one would expect to be an unruly mob chomping at the bit to get to the serving area is, rather, a neat and organized line. There's a small amount of jostling, and people's heads are often craning around to check on what's happening up ahead, but it's pretty subdued. This is due, no doubt, to the very serious rules regarding such matters in this school. The same strict discipline is observed when students move in the hallways, or come to and from their dormitories in the school gate. While the reasons for it may be slightly off-putting, I've come to quite like the sense of order that's enforced in the school. I didn't really like being told by Shizune and Misha to get their lunches, though. I feel a little used as I take a seat at the table where they're sitting, plunking their food down in front of them. Sweet bread and strawberry milk for Misha, a bowl of ramen and juice for Shizune. I heave a sigh of relief as I put it all down, after the significant difficulty I had carrying it all in addition to my own lunch.
Thank you.
Misha claps her hands together before popping open the wrapper and digging into her bread ravenously. Shizune simply gives an appreciative nod before giving her steaming ramen a stir and blowing on it a little to cool it down. I open my own lunch, another packet of sweet bread, and take a bite before washing it down with some juice. The bread is very sweet, so much so that I end up forcing myself to stomach it just to get the experience over with. Midway through, I decide to take a break from the difficult task and ask what's on my mind. So, I'm guessing you two had a reason to drag me down here? You two seem to always have an ulterior motive after all.
What are you saying, sir? We won't have to...
We won't have any ufer mofufe. Okay. Her mouth is full of sweet bread as she speaks. It's a pretty unpleasant sight. Shizune looks a little grossed out before going back to eating her ramen. I wait until Misha swallows what she has in her mouth before speaking again. You're not buttering me up to make me work with you after school.
No?
Not trying to extract information from me that I might not want to give?
Nuh-uh.
Fine. You win. I guess you just wanted to eat lunch with someone as intelligent and handsome as me then.
That's it, Hee-chan. You got it.
Shizune looks unimpressed as Misha finishes signing on a conversation, and sucks on the last of a long noodle as she signs her own thoughts.
Hee-chan says you shouldn't be so suspicious of us. She's just doing her duty as a class representative after all.
How is she... are you doing that? As much as I hate to admit it, it looks as if I still have trouble communicating with Shizune. It should be a simple matter of keeping eye contact with her and addressing Shizune instead of Misha in my speech, but when someone else is doing the talking for her, it's a surprisingly difficult task.
It's the class representative's job to ensure everybody's doing alright in class, isn't it?
Not really. Wait, how is making me get your food ensuring that I'll go well in class? Maybe that said do? Oh no, it said go. I think they meant to put do. Shizune huffs and adjusts her glasses disapprovingly. Although I guess go is technically grammatically correct, right?
So this is the thanks we get for giving you companionship during lunchtime?
That's a total dodge of the question. Wait, hang on. How did you know that I...
Lily's away and Hanako's absent, and since those two are the only people you hang around with. You also made it kind of obvious to see.
Ouch. I may have done so, but she didn't need to rub it in. Maybe this is payback for before. Right. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. And that isn't sarcasm. The two nod and we get back to finishing our meals. It feels a little embarrassing to be accompanied just because they noticed I was lonely, but it isn't as if they're strangers either. It wasn't long before I finished the last of my bread and started on the last of my juice, and as I do so, I find my mind wandering back to what I'd been thinking about before the two interrupted my train of thought. It feels like I'm the only one in the class that so much as acknowledges Hanako not being there. It felt like this the other time she skipped class, but now it's even more acutely annoying. Does nobody care if she's happy or not? Have they just written off any possibility of helping to make her better? Even Muto doesn't try to keep her in class, and I'm still not wholly convinced by his reasoning.
Hey, Hee-chan, is your just past its expiry date?
What?
You're pulling a weird face, like this.
As if it were needed, Misha mimics my own expression. Her exaggeration makes me grimace, though Shizune at least takes an amusement from it. I was just thinking about Hanako.
Oh?
Misha's interest is piqued, and so is Shizune's, once my words are interpreted for her. I'm just worried about her being absent so often. Especially now, though, what with her birthday coming around. The memories of that incident in class are still fresh in their minds. Their faces alone are telling me that much. Do you know anything about Hanako? Anything that might help? Misha shrugs and looks at Shizune, who mulls on this for a while.
The only people he's ever talked to for more than a sentence or two are you and Lily.
Shizune may not be able to convey Lily's name in a derisive tone of speech, but I feel as if it comes through in her sign language. The effect is lost, however, after Misha's interpretation.
There are a couple of things we know about Hanako as student council members, thanks to the records that they pass through our hands, but we can't say anything about what's in them.
Understandable. It sounds a lot like the nurse's patient confidentiality. Every time I find someone that knows something about Hanako's past, it turns up a dead end. The only way I'll ever find out is by asking her. I don't know if she'll let me know such things, but if it's for her sake, I have to at least try.
Don't worry about it, Hichan. It happens every year after all.
That doesn't remove my sense of worry at all. I still feel a little at fault for what happened in class, but this feels like it goes further, even without their confirmation of that fact. Misha notes my troubled expression, her own usually happy and reassuring face dropping.
Everyone has problems they have to deal with, right, Hichan?
Yeah, I just wish I could help Hanako more with hers. With that, the conversation trails off on a depressing note. Eventually, Misha manages to pick the mood back up through her usual bright and bubbly antics, but my mind remains focused on Hanako. I'll go check on her later. I make sure my door is locked after dropping off my school bag. The dorms are quiet. Muto kept me occupied longer than I expected, discussing my studies after class, Discussing my studies after class ended, and pressing on me some worksheets to give to Hanako almost as an afterthought. Absorbed in thought, I'm late in registering the shadow that appears in front of me. Looking up reveals the owner of said shadow. Please, not him. Not him.
Oh! Hey man, haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, hi.
What's with that response?
My absent-minded greeting visibly annoys him. I'd probably have had the same reaction. Sorry, just thinking about a lot of stuff.
I think it's a pretty poor excuse for not aiding the war effort.
And how goes the war?
I'm preparing. Right now I need money to help with those preparations.
If you want me to loan you money, just say it.
No man, I'm good.
You're good. You don't want my money.
Hey man, don't look so surprised. It's insulting. I'm pretty big in the competitive bowling scene, but yesterday I found some guys who didn't know that.
I'm fairly sure that betting would be against the school rules.
School rules don't matter. This is a war situation. People these days, they have no appreciation for what war means.
So what do you need this money for, dare I ask?
Non-perishable canned food, building materials, mostly corrugated wood, corrugated iron and wood panels, first aid kit, camping heater, portable radios, sleeping bag, flashlight, mechanical clock.
At first, it strikes me as a rather random assortment of objects and materials, but after a few seconds it clicks. Isn't that a list of materials for a fallout shelter?
Ah, so you've read a Protect and Survive booklet. It's good to see someone so knowledgeable about how to protect themselves.
You don't seriously think...
It's a non-zero responsibility.
No, I'm pretty sure there's a zero responsibility of that ever happening. He slowly and dramatically raises an eyebrow. Well, as dramatically as one can raise an eyebrow. The chance is, I don't know, 0.1 to the trillionth place? It's infinitesimal. Infinitesimal. Besides, where can you build a fallout shelter anyway? Certainly not on campus.
It's my summer holiday project while I'm at home. My dad said I can do it.
Really?
Yeah, he thought it'll improve my crafting skills and manual dexterity, or something.
Knowing Kenji, his dad probably just thought it would keep him out of his hair for a while. Still, it does make me wonder what his parents are like. Maybe they're totally normal, and Kenji's just an aberration. On the other hand, maybe this kind of paranoia and fearful survivalism runs in the family.
Hey, wanna help me build it? You look like the type to be handy with tools. If I had your help, we can make a really badass bunker instead of just a fallout shelter.
I doubt that. Playing soccer before my accident gave me good footwork, but I've never really tried my hands at anything approaching real handiwork. I'm not really. I'm busy over the holidays anyway, I'm afraid.
A shame. If the feminists ever get a hold of the launch codes, I fear that so few will be prepared.
And your fallout shelter will protect from a nuclear bomb explosion, in the case that this does happen?
A fallout shelter isn't meant to protect against a blast. That's what a blast shelter is for. I thought you knew better.
My mistake.
My home's pretty far away from any major military site, so the fallout following a nuclear exchange is a bigger concern than the blast itself. What this will do is keep the dust and other particles away from me, my food supply, and my sleeping area. It's gotta last me at least 14 days, though.
14 days is a pretty long time.
It is. I need 1 liter of water a day just for drinking. 2 optimally so that I can wash as well. Toiletries easy enough, just garbage bags, and a bin placed outside the shelter area. Food means canned supplies, of course.
Oh, Jesus, I hate this guy. I hate that I gave him such a fucking annoying voice. Of course, and the radios are for outside communication.
Right. So I can pick up government alerts on what's going on outside. I need a mechanical clock rather than an electric one, just in case the electromagnetic pulse from a nuclear air burst fries it too. There's all the other stuff I need as well, like extra clothing, matches, and candles. I think I still have time to gather it all, though. Maybe.
As much as I hate to say it, I'm a little impressed. He's really researched this and thought it through. Then again, I don't know if I want to live in a post-apocalyptic world with only people like Kenji having survived. It sounds like you know what you're doing.
Damn right I do.
It must be hard, living in constant fear like this. He hardly ever socializes either, so the fact he went bowling with others is in itself something of a surprise. This mentality reminds me a little of a certain someone. Thankfully, her fear of others doesn't manifest in such a distinctly eccentric way. One thing I know for sure is that I certainly can't tell him exactly why I haven't been hanging around with him much recently. It's late, I got stuff to do. I'll think about making a fallout shelter or something, though.
Yeah, alright, that's cool. A man has to do what he's got to do, after all. You should come hang out with me sometime, by the way. You're a cool dude. Cool dudes should hang out with each other, right?
For some reason, that compliment actually feels kind of nice. The situation with Hanako being what it is, though, means that I probably won't be able to fulfill his request. For now, at least. That'd be good. I'll talk to you later about it when I can.
Cool. Later, dude.
Oh, thank God. Oh my God, thank you. He retreats to his dormitory room. I'd better go see Hanako. Yeah, we're gonna stop it right there. Yeah, boy. We're gonna create a new save state. Successfully saved main menu. Boom. I know, I'm sorry to do it to you guys. But it's what's gotta be done. I think we're on the last chapter, because I think Hanako's route only has 4 chapters. So I'm pretty sure we're on the last chapter here. But yeah, so we're definitely reaching like a climax point here. And if you're really thinking about it, you know, it's late at night. We're going to visit her room to drop off some homework, quote unquote. I mean, if you're just looking at the chapter little image here, I mean, I don't know, man. This could be it. This could be it. But you're just going to have to wait for the next episode to see that. That's going to be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video and tell me in the comment section below what you would like to see me play next. If you enjoy this series or any other videos or series on my channel, then I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you will be notified when a new one of those videos comes out. Anyways, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one.